Hello and welcome to the Football News Zone, the show where we round up all the biggest stories in the beautiful game right now. We've had a double bill of Premier League fixtures this week and the FA Cup is back this weekend, but which other stories have been catching our attention? This week, Unai Emery has been full of praise for Marcus Rashford after a great start to life at Aston Villa. Manchester United have announced that more redundancies are on the way, and Galatasaray have started legal proceedings against Jose Mourinho in Turkey. Yes, seriously. All that and a whole lot more is coming up in today's show. Let's dive in. So, Marcus Rashford seems like a man reborn at Aston Villa after leaving Manchester United and not really playing at Old Trafford at all, being accused of not training properly by his manager, Ruben Amorim. He is yet another player who's left United and found success elsewhere. Of course, he will go back to Manchester United as things stand, but I tell you what, Aston Villa might well put in a bid for him at the end of the day, because right now he's doing very well. He assisted both goals for Marco Asensio to win the game against Chelsea at the weekend, a massive game in Villa's hope of returning to the Champions League again next season, of course, against one of their top four rivals, in my opinion, Chelsea. And with 5 Champions League spots on the line potentially this season as well, it's massive for them. But let's have a look what's been said here, because Unai Emery, the manager of Aston Villa, has been full of praise for one of his new acquisitions in the summer. In January. You know, I'm prefacing it. I'm leaving this in the video. I don't care. I'm prefacing it. He might well take him on in the summer. If he keeps playing this like this, why not? Clearly, he's not wanted at Manchester United and things are not working out. Aston Villa manager Unai Emery praised Marcus Rashford's fantastic performance in their 2-1 comeback victory against Chelsea on Saturday, highlighting the importance of providing the on-loan forward with the necessary support to help him rediscover his best form. Rashford, who joined Villa on loan from Manchester United until the end of the season, came off the bench at half-time and played a crucial role in the host turnaround, registering assists for both from Marcus Asensio's second-half goals. Speaking to Sky Sports after the match, Emery discussed his approach to coaching Rashford since his arrival at the club, saying, "Support him, help him, try to make him feel comfortable here, try to get confidence with us, try to work, try to use the skills in our tactical ideas, as well to be demanding with him in our demands, as well as tactically in everything, and he's in this process." The Villa boss emphasised the importance of consistency and expressed his hope that Rashford will continue to play a vital role in the team's success. Of course, he played a fantastic 45 minutes, and this really is the only thing. We want to try to be very consistent through him in our squad and in our way, and we are going to do that. But he's going to be very, very important like today, but hopefully more and more and more. And the most important thing for him is to try and feel comfortable here, try to get confidence, be here in good atmosphere with us, and this is my objective, Emery added. Sources have informed ESPN that the loan deal between Aston Villa and Manchester United includes an option for the transfer to become permanent at the end of the campaign. Rashford's introduction against Chelsea proved to be a turning point in the match, as he replaced Jacob Ramsey, with Villa trailing 1-0 to Enzo Fernandez's first half goal. The 27-year-old's impact was immediate as he set up both of Marco Asensio's goals to secure a crucial win for the Midlands club. Villa midfielder Yuri Tielemans acknowledged the positive influence Rashford has on the team since his arrival, stating, "Listen, Marcus is someone he can threaten anyone versus one, even 1 versus 2. He's very important for us in the way he plays because he gives us something that on that left-hand side. Today, every time he got the ball, he was dangerous." The victory over Chelsea bolstered Villa's chance of securing a Champions League spot next season as they climbed to 7th overall in the Premier League table with 42 points, just 1 behind at 6th place Chelsea. Like I said in the intro, 5th place is probably going to be enough for Champions League football. And despite people criticising Rashford and despite people criticising Jadon Sancho's tweet to him not too long ago, basically saying, "Welcome, brother, welcome to freedom," or whatever he said, something like that. It's kind of hard to disagree with the sentiment. Clearly, things were not working out at Man United. Blame the player, blame the manager, blame whatever, right? Whatever was happening wasn't working. Change of scenery. He's been at Manchester United since he was a boy in the academy. He's probably been there for at least 20 of his 27 years on this planet, if not even longer. And he's been a Man United fan all his life. So, to be in that one place for so long, it's hard. You need a break sometimes, and clearly the break is doing him good. Whether Aston Villa are going to buy him or not is another matter. I think if Amorim stays for next season, which I expect him to do so, I expect Marcus Rashford to be sold, because as well on top of that, Man United are in financial trouble and PSR is potentially looking dodgy for them, to say the least. And what is Marcus Rashford? an academy product. And what do academy products are accounting? Pure profit, baby. So I honestly think he'll go. I think he'll go in the summer to Villa, and I think it'd be a good move for him. You know, clearly he started very well, long way still to go, but I'm looking forward to seeing what his impact is going to be, particularly in competitions like the Champions League. And Villa are in the FA Cup still as well, so, you know, there's a chance there as well. Why not? They've got every chance. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. But, yeah, Marcus Rashford at Villa is very much working out so far. Your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Do you think he'll go permanent to Villa Park in the summer or not? I think he will, personally. Things are going from bad to worse to even more horrible as a Manchester United fan right now. Not only are fortunes on the pitch being extremely poor, more cutbacks are being made. Another 200 jobs are said to be lost at Manchester United as part of the latest cost-cutting measures put in place by the new part owner of the club, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. Let's have a look at this, guys, because this is just plain sad. As simple as that. There is no positive way to look at this, and the benefits of Manchester United doing this financially, I believe, are very, very minimal. I understand they want to cut losses and cut the expenditure of the club, but this is 200 people's lives at the end of the day, and it's really, really horrible. But yeah, let me just read it. A full article on the footballchronicle.com as always. Manchester United are swinging their axe again, with up to 200 redundancies planned in their latest round of cost slashing. Barely a year after Sir Jim Ratcliffe rolled in as co-owner, the club continues to shed staff on top of the 250 who got the chop last summer. CEO Barada laid it out on Monday. This is about survival, not sentiment. Losses topping £300 million, or just under $380 million US over the past 3 years have United scrambling to steady the ship, and nobody's safe. We have a responsibility to put Manchester United in the strongest position to win across our men's, women's and academy teams, Barada said in a statement. We are initiating a wide-ranging series of measures which will transform and renew the club. Unfortunately, this means announcing further potential redundancies, and we deeply regret the impact on those affected colleagues. However, these hard choices are necessary to put the club back on a financial stable footing. Staff will find out who's been hit between April and June, sources have told ESPN, another grim way to Old Trafford. The numbers don't lie. Last week's financials landed like a lead balloon. £198.7 million in revenue from October to December 2024, down from £225.8 million a year prior. We have lost money over the 5 consecutive years, Barada said. This cannot continue. Our main priorities as a club are delivering success on the pitch for our fans and improving our facilities. We cannot invest in these objectives if we are continuously losing money. 5 years of red ink and the Glazers' shadow still looms. Ratcliffe's Ineos crew inherited a mess. That is going to be a key part of this, and I will speak about that at the end of the video. It's not just the jobs on the block. United are shuffling staff from Old Trafford offices to Carrington's training ground, while their swanky Mayfair base in London gets a reduced presence. Monday's staff meeting dropped another clanger. Free lunches at Old Trafford are toast. Not literally, they're gone. A move bosses reckon will save over £1 million yearly per an ESPN source. No more shepherd's pie is on the house. Every penny is getting squeezed. Apparently they will get free fruit, but that is it. Charity's taking a hit too. Sources told ESPN the club is dialing back donations, zeroing on the Manchester United Foundation and Disabled Supporters Association. Talks with MUF are ongoing to peg a cash value, less spread, more focus. It's a cold reset, a strip back, shore up and survive. Fans want wins, not spreadsheets, but Barada's better, leaner, meaner, stronger eventually. For now, it's grim up north. Jobs lost, lunches binned, and a club clawing for footing. Ratcliffe's revolution, more like a reckoning. Very well put by the writer of this article. Well done to him for that. Thank you for that piece on the footballchronicle.com. I mean, yeah, it's just terrible, really. It really is. I had to pull the blinds up then because, yeah, the sun was just shining straight in my face. When I started this video, it was a miserable, cloudy day. Now there's just a little bit of peak of sunlight coming through the clouds. But let's get back onto topic. I mean, yeah, we knew something was going to happen because those losses are not going to be ignored. They are making big losses, Manchester United, and something has to be done. Unfortunately, it usually comes down to the average Joe, John and Jane who work for these kind of places, they're the ones who obviously kind of get the brunt of this, this regime, really. It's not unique to Man United, it's across a lot of businesses. This is what happens, and it doesn't make it right, but it's just the reality of it. But the thing is, at the end of the day, the savings that we're making from this is very minimal. You think about how much Anthony has cost Manchester United, not only in player wages, but also in the transfer amount that he came for in the first place. I think you add it up, it's probably cost the club around £150 million. And who is paying for that? Well, literally Manchester United are paying for it. But the people that actually work for them, they are having to foot that bill. They are having to actually make up for these mistakes themselves, basically. And I think that's really terrible. The average person is suffering because of this, and I think that's awful. I really do. And it really does speak to a lot of problems. And the biggest problem for me is still the Glazers. I'm sorry to say again, but it's the Glazers. I have to say it, because the reason why Ratcliffe is doing this is not because he's some benevolent, evil business owner or something like that. Look, he might be that. I don't know. I don't know the guy personally, but devil's advocate here, because the real Satans in all this are the Glazers. The reason why Man United are struggling so bad financially is because of the interest payments they're having to pay to the Glazers in terms of the debt. Now, the Glazers can, of course, put the money up themselves. Of course, they can do that, but they won't. They won't do that. They haven't done that throughout this entire thing. It has to be Man United that pay it, and because the revenue has gone down, now they're having to find money from elsewhere. And in order of cost, ESR, and FFP and all that sort of stuff, it does mean, unfortunately, that the only way for Ratcliffe to do that is to get rid of some of the people working, reduce the expenditure in other ways. They can't just get rid of Anthony. If they were to do that, they'd have to give him a massive payout on his contract, and then they'd fail PSR. So it's like, what do you do? And I hate it. I really do. I understand why they've done it. I don't think it's right, but I get why they've done it. But the biggest villains in all this has to be the Glazers, and that has to be what's got, Ratcliffe is the one bearing the brunt of this in the PR. Everybody's having a go at him for this, but it's the Glazers, really. They're the real ones. What they did 20 years ago are now affecting Man United hugely, and will continue to do so, and it's probably not going to get better for some time yet. Simple as that. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this Ratcliffe's failure? Is this the Glazers' failure? Would you have done the same thing in their position? Is it a necessary change to have to happen? Your thoughts in the comments below. So, this weekend was a very good one for Liverpool Football Club. An impressive away win against Manchester City moved them 11 points clear in the Premier League. Thanks to Arsenal slipping up at home against West Ham United. A real shock result, something we didn't really see coming at all. But that, in a lot of people's eyes, has basically decided the Premier League title this year. And I'm not calling the curtains just yet, but it would take a minor miracle for Arsenal to do it. And only Arsenal could do it. The gap between Arsenal and even teams like Nottingham Forest is just too great. You can't see Nottingham Forest really challenging for the title. Man City are too far back. Chelsea are too inconsistent. Newcastle are too inconsistent. I don't see any of those guys really threatening, to be honest. So really, it is a two-horse race, and in a lot of people's eyes, it is a one-horse race. But interesting quotes coming out from this game as well, because we've obviously got three of the big hitters for Liverpool still out of contract in the summer. Virgil van Dijk, their captain, Mohamed Salah, their absolute star man at the moment, and of course Trent Alexander-Arnold, all out of contract in the summer. And Salah has basically said that this team, this group of players, feel they need to win another Premier League title. Of course, they've only won one. They've come second on a number of occasions to usually Manchester City in the past. They've gotten huge points totals in the past. I think they got 97 points or 98 points one season and finished second in the Premier League, where in every other season in Premier League history, that would have been enough to win it. But it looks as though they will get that second title this year, that second Premier League title, that 20th title overall in top division English football history for Liverpool, tying them overall with their great rivals Manchester United. But let's have a look at some quotes here for this. Let's have a look at what Salah and the rest have been saying after what is a very, very large hurdle that has been overcome at the weekend. Full article on thefootballchronicle.com as always. Liverpool star Mohamed Salah has emphasised the importance of securing another Premier League title for the club's experienced players, following their impressive 2-0 away victory over Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday. The win, combined with Arsenal's defeat to West Ham, has given Liverpool a commanding 11-point lead at the top of the table. When asked by Sky Sports News if he thought that Liverpool were close to clinching their second Premier League title. Salah responded, I wouldn't say it's close. It's just like, we need another title for sure. Me and the big guys here in the team, we need another title. But yeah, we'll give it our best and we'll give it a good shot. Salah has been in sensational form this season, becoming the first player in Europe's top 5 leagues to register 50 goal involvements when he opened the scoring against City. The Egyptian forward, along with key teammates such as Virgil van Dijk, Alisson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, all played a vital role in Liverpool's first Premier League success under former coach Jurgen Klopp in the 2019-20 season. Despite the ongoing uncertainty surrounding the long-term futures of Salah, Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold, who are all out of contract at Anfield this summer, Salah has admitted that this has been his favourite season on Merseyside. I don't know, it's an opinion. Maybe people prefer my first season or maybe people prefer now. But I think I prefer now because it's just winning the league, doing your best and helping the team, helping young players as well. It's incredible. Probably this year, he said. I think it also depends on what happens in the other competitions too. If they manage to do a League and Champions League double, if they manage to do a treble in a sense. I mean, I know some people will be like, oh, it's not a proper treble. They've not won the FA Cup. Well, if they get the EFL Cup, that is still a treble of sorts. And it's at least a proper double anyway. I know some people think that the League Cup is a Mickey Mouse Cup. I don't agree with that. It's still a major trophy at the end of the day. Yes, it doesn't have the same prestige as the Premier League Cup or the Champions League. It doesn't, but it's still a trophy at the end of the day. You know, it's still a major honour. So they could well end up having that, and it would also depend on how they go with that too. Because yeah, they've won the Champions League before. Yeah, they've won the league before, but they haven't won a League and Champions League double in a very long time. Liverpool, certainly not in the Premier League era. You'd have to go back to probably the 1980s for the last time that happened. Maybe 82, I think. I'm just plucking a number out of the air, but for some reason that's sticking out in my mind. And of course, back then, if you won the Champions League, you won the European Cup as it was called, you normally had to win the first division as well. Usually. I mean, it was pretty much, only the top one got through to that competition back in the day. But is this Salah's best season, guys? I think it's definitely up there, and I think his importance for the team, I'd say he's more important now than he ever has been for Liverpool. I really do think he has. I think he's been incredible, and that is not to diminish the efforts of the other players. They've been magnificent as well, but I really do think he's been incredible, and I honest to God think that the only thing that could stop Liverpool winning the Premier League this season is an injury to Salah, a long-term injury to Salah, and nobody will wish that upon him. Nobody. And I don't want to see it, of course, but I think honestly that's the only thing that can happen, but to stop them winning the league. But honestly, with the way Salah is, the fitness of the guy, the consistency of him, I don't really see it happening. I really don't. He just seems like a player that is in incredible shape and is just going to keep going. But yeah, guys, there we go. Do this team deserve to win another Premier League title? I think for how close they've been on a number of occasions, they probably do, to be honest. But you could also say the same about Arsenal too. They've been close on a number of occasions. I think if they finish second this season, they'll have been second for 3-4 years in a row. They probably deserve 1-2 at this rate. But anyway, I think Liverpool arguably deserve it more because of how good they've been and not won the Premier League in recent times. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. So the here and now may not be too rosy for Manchester City, but there is a bright future on the way for these young City stars who have been transferred in during the transfer window in the winter. Of course, Manchester City absolutely spent very heavily in January and February to bring in a number of key players, a lot of young players, a lot of players that are doing a decent job now, in my opinion, and a lot of players that as well will embed themselves into the squad and very much become stars for the next 5-10 years potentially. And that is what Pep Guardiola is doing. He's focusing on the positives here, despite, to be honest, being beaten pretty resoundingly by Liverpool at the weekend, really highlighting the difference in quality between those two teams now. But at the end of the day, the roles were reversed. Last season it was very much different. Man City were absolutely storming for another Premier League title, and Liverpool were never in that title hunt really, apart from maybe really early on in the season. That was kind of it, but long term it wasn't happening for them. But let's have a look at this, guys. Let's have a look at what he's been saying about his team in the aftermath of that Liverpool match. Full article on thefootballchronicle.com as always. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola remained optimistic about his team's future despite suffering a 2-0 defeat to Premier League leaders Liverpool at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday. Guardiola fielded a young starting 11 with an average age of just 24.7 years, leaving experienced players such as Ruben Diaz, Mateo Kovacic, Ilkay Gundogan and Bernardo Silva on the bench. The City lineup included three 20-year-olds, Rico Lewis, Savinho and Kusanov. And despite the loss, Guardiola expressed dissatisfaction with his performance. I saw a bright future, Guardiola told the BBC. Other than Kevin De Bruyne and Nathan Ake, they are the future of this club in the next years, with others who will come in future windows. The result leaves City 20 points behind Liverpool in the table, and Guardiola acknowledged the gap between the two sides. When asked by ESPN about the big difference between the teams, he said, "You can see it in the table. They've picked up a lot of points. We've lost a lot when we couldn't have." As for today, I have a few things to say. We got to the touchline a lot, the winger was brilliant, but we lack quality to be able to resolve the moves. City were without star striker Erling Haaland, who missed the match due to a knee injury sustained in the 4-0 win over Newcastle. Guardiola admitted uncertainty about Haaland's availability for the upcoming match against Tottenham Hotspur on Wednesday, saying, "I don't know. I'm not saying we didn't get the result because of Erling not being there. That is unfair on the other players. We could finish more, but in general it is fine." Despite the defeat, Guardiola saw enough in his side to be confident for the future. "I saw a bright future," he told BBC Sport. "These players are so young." He specifically praised wide duo Savinho and Jeremy Doku, while also recognising the importance of Phil Foden in the team's future plans. Guardiola responded to Liverpool boss Arne Slot's post-match comments, in which Slot predicted that City would challenge strongly again next season. "I would like that," Guardiola said. "I know what we have to do as a team. It's not enough, but I recognise my team. In the last 2 games in the Premier League, they were brilliant against both Newcastle and Liverpool." With 12 games remaining in the season, City's main focus is securing a place in next season's Champions League. They currently sit 4th in the table, 3 points behind 3rd place Nottingham Forest and 5 points ahead of 10th place Fulham. It's a very congested group in the race for European football this season. Guardiola is convinced that the challenge of trying to qualify for the Champions League will provide sufficient motivation for his team. "If it doesn't happen because we're not good enough, not because of a lack of hunger and desire," he said. "It's so tight with 4 or 5 teams. Forest, Newcastle, Villa and the other teams are so good. It will not be easy, but we will try." I think they'll get top 4, to be honest. And honestly, I think they might well win the FA Cup too. I don't want to see it because they've won a lot of recently, and I think it'd do football good to see somebody else win at the end of the day. But I think they've definitely got a chance of it. They're out of the Champions League. The Premier League's gone for them. They're going to put all their efforts in the FA Cup. At least they should do anyway, whenever that is on. And of course, we've got the 5th round coming up this weekend, I think, actually. So yeah, interesting one. And then this is the thing, right? This is something that Guardiola has never had to do before, right, as a manager. I'm not saying he can't do it, I'm just saying he's never had to do it before. He's never had to do a full rebuild like this. Now, you could argue he did that when he first came in at Manchester City, a lot of players coming in, but I'm talking about reinventing the same side, not coming in as a newcomer. So he's only managed 3 clubs, as fresh, I should say, in senior management in his career so far. Barcelona, he was there for 5 years, 4 years, something like that. Bayern Munich, he was there for 3 years. So there wasn't really enough time. Like, this is his longest job, Manchester City. He's been there for nearly 10 years now. And in that time, he is now having to rebuild the squad. He brought in a bunch of these players that were doing incredibly well for the team, winning them Premier League after Premier League. You know, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. You know, these players that are absolutely crucial to them. And yes, players have been in and out quite a bit. That is something that is natural. That is something that has happened a lot. But right now, a lot of these really, really quality players are aging out. I'd be shocked if De Bruyne stays at Manchester City for next season. Not because he's not good enough, but just because he's too injury prone and he's not as young as he used to be. And, you know, for that kind of wage, for that kind of player, you want him to be available for every game you've got that in a season, you know, and that's just not going to happen with De Bruyne. You're going to get 20, maybe 30 games out of him in a season. Is that enough to warrant him being there? Some people might say yes because he's quality, but I would argue from Manchester City point of view, there is no reason why they can't go out and get someone better. Who's going to be there at least most of the time anyway. Maybe not better on his day, but at least more consistently there. Someone who's going to be there for the next 10 years. De Bruyne's maybe got a couple years left in him at this kind of level. With the injuries he's getting, I don't see him getting that long left in the game at the top level. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do that, how they rebuild it, how Pep rebuilds that. That's what made Alex Ferguson so good. That's why Sir Alex was so legendary for so long. Even in the times when Chelsea were coming up under Mourinho and Arsenal had their invincibles, Manchester United eventually came back and they won a boatload of Premier League titles before long. Guardiola's going to do the same thing potentially with Man City. It's probably what's going to happen. You get these generational managers, these absolute legends of the game, and they don't take any prisoners. They really, really don't. But I want to hear what you have to say about this, guys. Your opinions in the comments below. Where will Man City finish this season? Will they win the FA Cup? I'm backing them to do that. They're going to go out in the 5th round now, I've said that. But honestly, they're the team that I would probably back for this, just given the circumstances of everything. They got to be one of the favourites with the bookies. Arsenal out, Liverpool out, of course. So it's not looking too unlikely at all that Man City will do that. So Jose Mourinho in the news again, no surprise there, but this time he might be in some serious trouble for apparent racist remarks made in the Istanbul derby. Now, I'll explain what's happened with this. Anybody who's been following the news the last couple of days or so will know this story. But yeah, obviously Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, the two of the 3 great rivals from Istanbul alongside Besiktas. But this is the one. This is the biggest one. This is the one that everybody, the hatred in this is so rife for sure. But let me just go through this, guys, because this story is a bit controversial to say the least. It always is, and I'll give my thoughts on it at the end of the video. Give my thoughts as to what is going to happen most likely when it comes to the Portuguese Fenerbahce manager. Full article on the footballchronicle.com as always. Jose Mourinho's mouth has landed him in hot water again. Galatasaray are gunning for the Fenerbahce gaffer, vowing to initiate criminal proceedings over what they call racist statements after Monday's 0-0 Istanbul derby draw. The special one's post-match barbs lashing out at the home bench for jumping like monkeys and Turkish referees as a potential disaster lit the fuse. 6 hours ago, the Super League leaders fired off a statement, and now UEFA and FIFA are in their sights as well. Since the commencement of his managerial duties in Turkey, Fenerbahce manager Jose Mourinho has persistently issued derogatory statements directed towards the Turkish people. Today, his discourse has escalated beyond merely immoral comments into unequivocally inhumane rhetoric, Galatasaray declared. We hereby formally declare our intention to initiate criminal proceedings concerning the racist statements made by Jose Mourinho and shall accordingly submit official complaints to UEFA and FIFA. Furthermore, we shall diligently observe the stance adopted by Fenerbahce, an institution for pressing to uphold exemplary moral values in response to the reprehensible conduct exhibited by their manager. No word yet from Mourinho or Fenerbahce on the brewing storm. The spark? Well, that was Mourinho's press conference after a tense stalemate refereed by Slovenian Slavko Vičnić. Both clubs had demanded a foreign whistle. Asked about his 19-year-old defender I'm not going to say their last name. He said, I have to thank the referee. After the big dive in the first minute and their bench jumping like monkeys on the top of the kid, with a Turkish referee, you would have seen a yellow card after 1 minute, and after 5 minutes, I would have to change him. He didn't stop there, doubling down on his refereeing gripes. I went to the referee's dressing room after the game. Of course, the 4th official was there, a Turkish referee. I told him, thank you for coming here. You come for a big match. And I turned myself to the 4th official and said, if you were a referee, this match would have been a disaster. Mourinho's no stranger to Turkish football's refereeing wars. Hired by Fenerbahce last summer, the 2-time Champions League winner copped a ban and a fine earlier in the season for blasting local officials, once calling the scene toxic. Pre-match, he'd back to the foreign referee call. I think it's important for the credibility, for the image of the match. Post-game, he spun into a dig. What Galatasaray now brand a racist jab. It's not clear which exact words they're pinning on the line crosser, but monkish and Turkish people snipes have them fuming. Fenerbahce sit in second place in the Super League, 6 points adrift of Galatasaray, who have got the upper hand on the moral high ground, or so they reckon. Mourinho, 62 years of age now, with stints at Chelsea, Manchester United and Spurs, thrives on the chaos. It's his oxygen. But legal threats and governing body probes, that's a tighter spot than he's used to. Galatasaray watching Fenerbahce's next move. Will they back their man or blink? For now, it's a standoff. One side is crying foul, one is going quiet. The derby is far from over. Well, I mean, listen, my personal opinion, I mean, it's probably not the smartest terms to use, you know, jumping around like monkeys, but I think we all know what he means. I wouldn't say that is necessarily racist, really, to be honest. And the whole thing about Turkish referees, I mean, that's a whole controversy in itself. We've seen Turkish referees be assaulted on the football pitch in recent times in the Turkish Super League. So we know there's a lot of controversy there. We know Fenerbahce in particular have been very conspiratorial in their kind of theories about what's going on. They've threatened to leave the Super League. A lot of big clubs in Turkey have made enemies of their former broadcaster beIN. I mean, there's lots and lots of controversies around that. Turkish football is a hot mess for sure. But to be honest, I wouldn't say, going off of these remarks, I wouldn't say that these are particularly racist statements. I don't think he's having a go at the referees for being Turkish. I think he's having a go at the referees for what he perceives to be useless referees. Whether he's right or wrong with that statement is another matter, but saying that he's racist for saying that, I think is wrong. Ill-advised? Yeah, perhaps. He's probably going to get some sort of charge for what he said. He probably gets one every other week, does Mourinho? He gets sent off every other week in the touchline. This is not new for him, but to initiate criminal proceedings for what he said, I think they're clutching at straws personally, Galatasaray. I feel like this statement is meant to be a statement. I don't think they're actually going to pursue this very meaningfully, and I don't really see it going very far in UEFA or FIFA either personally. But what do you guys think? Is a racist? I thought I'd be asking that question. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below as always, guys, and we'll see you soon for some more football content here on thefootballchronicle.com. Have a great day, have a great week. See you very soon.